Oh, that's so nice.
Oh, that means I'm going to get kisses.
I like it.
Anyone out there that accidentally runs into Kody Brown somewhere, the first thing you need to say to him is, we believe you. We believe that you are flirtatious and affectionate with the right woman. We believe you can be romantic with the person you're in love with. You don't have to prove it to us anymore. You don't have to try to make out when the cameras are around. Please stop. We've had enough. Just stop. Hello everyone, welcome to Happily Ever Reality. My name is Brittany and today I'm talking about Sister Wives Season 20, Episode 8. Obviously, we got to see Cody and Robyn make out in this episode way more than we ever wanted to. I don't think any of us ever wanted to at all, but that is the reason this episode is titled Making Out Like Teenagers. If you haven't already watched it, I'm going to put the link up on the screen here. I made another video about this episode. It really focuses on the sell of Coyote Pass, so if you want to go ahead and watch that one, go ahead, click the link. But now I want to talk about the other stuff that happened in this episode. Since I've already started by talking about the most annoying couple on the show, let's just continue with those two. The first time we see Cody and Robyn in this episode, we see them doing a project in their house, and Robyn is acting as the beautiful assistant. During a confessional, she says that is a title that she came up with for when a wife would be helping Cody do a project, and he really wouldn't want them to help him. He would just want someone to stand around doing the menial task. So according to her, she came up with that title. I don't think it matters. I don't care who came up with it. I know the internet does. I've read some comments where people are really trying to figure out which wife came up with the phrase. I don't care personally. Whatever. I did think it was funny though. During a confessional, Meri says by the time that phrase came around, her and Cody were already not getting along, so she never got to be a beautiful assistant. As they are working on this project, we get a glimpse into their new home that they refer to as their castle. And you guys, it becomes very clear that Robyn is going to be decorating her new house in the same style that she decorated the old one. If you're an interior designer and there's a name for it, let me know what the name of that style is. What is she going for? I just think it feels very, very cluttered. I shouldn't be surprised that they're doing the same thing because they consider those things, all of the artwork and all of the knickknacks in their house to be investments. So of course they weren't going to get rid of them. But quite frankly, you guys, it's a shame that they didn't use this as a chance to really start over and have less stuff. There is this part of me that feels like they went for a bigger home. Not because they want the grandkids and kids to come visit them, but because they just filled up their old house. When Cody is finished with this decorating project, Robyn and Cody go in for a kiss, and his facial hair bothers Robyn's face. And this leads to Cody deciding to shave. Right then, immediately, because of the prospect that he will get more kisses from Robyn.
Listen, promise me we're going to make out like teenagers, and I promise you that I won't bother me a bit.
I just wonder how much of this actually happens when the cameras aren't around, because I genuinely believe he's trying to prove to us that he is an affectionate person. While we're seeing all of this, there ends up being a confessional with Robyn where she expresses again about how their relationship has really changed now that Cody isn't with any of the other wives. I'm going to put the clip in here so that you guys can hear it again.
Cody and I wouldn't be affectionate publicly, but now that it's just the two of us, we flirt a lot.
I genuinely find this comical. She has brought it up multiple times this season. She says they weren't affectionate and they didn't flirt because of the other wives. Why? Why? I can understand in the beginning when she said that and they were spending more time together. But at the end, we know they weren't. Meri, Janelle, and Christine didn't know what was happening at Robyn's house. If they weren't flirting and being affectionate, that was all their own doing. I don't believe that the three original wives cared that Robyn was flirting with Cody at the end, or it was the other way around. I don't think it mattered because they had bigger issues with Cody. He wasn't visiting them. He wasn't going to their houses. He wasn't visiting the kids. He wasn't involved as a father. Who gives a crap if he flirts with Robyn at that point? That might have been an issue earlier when she first entered the family, but in the end, there was bigger fish to fry than whether or not Robyn and Kody shared a kiss. Later in the episode, we see Robyn cleaning out her pantry, and my goodness, the internet has so many opinions about the food in the pantry. Someone pointed out that there was something there, some food item that said it belonged to Bree and don't eat it without asking. Well, I mean, you guys, from my perspective, if Bree has a food sensitivity or an allergy and it's hers and she doesn't want other people to eat it because it's expensive, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It'd be like having roommates and having a certain type of food that you need for a health reason and saying, hey, please don't eat that. I don't think that's the end of the world to point out that it's Bree's. What it does do, though, is kind of make Robyn not look as bad as she looked in the past, because we know she has talked and tried to defend herself when it came to the food, because it seemed like she didn't want to share the food with the other wives' children. But it appears that she's this way about food even with her own kids, because now those other kids aren't even around. I also know that people were really caught up in her pantry. Listen, they have a lot of stuff all over their home. I'm not surprised they have a lot of stuff in their pantry. I also know there have been images of Kody shopping at like warehouse places like Costco and Sam's Club. I am someone that does that, particularly if I know I'm going to save on something that's pre-packaged that we can sort of put back for later. I think Robyn probably does that. There's a lot in there. It needs to be organized a little better. Maybe don't show it on the show, because people are just not going to be very understanding considering all of the other stuff she has in her house. And we've seen that garage. She's going to have to be smart about what she puts on the show. But you guys, I couldn't focus on the pantry. I was very interested in the artwork that Kody walked by. So Kody skips into the house. He's all excited. Coyote Pass is sold. But he passes by this artwork and I'm like, what is that? And so I screenshot it and then I look at it and it appears to be a castle in front of a table. You are free to tell me if I'm wrong. You can also explain this to me. Is this an investment piece? Is it expensive? Why? What does it mean? I'm not someone who would ever go to someone's house and ask them, because I think that would be bad manners to be like, why do you have that artwork? But there's a part of me that's kind of like, why do they have that? It doesn't match their home. But you know what? Nothing matches in their home. It's very eclectic. I just was floored by this, and I have it up on the screen. Feel free, if you have art knowledge, to explain the meaning. Is there meaning to this? If you're not an art expert and you have a theory, feel free to leave that too. I was just caught up on this, and then I realized later everyone else was caught up on the pantry. Of course, let's get back to Cody and Robyn talking about Coyote Pass. We find out that Robyn is still struggling a little bit, but you can't tell me she's struggling the way she used to. It has been years. Let it go. You're going to have to let it go. You're in a new, beautiful home, and that sale of that property will help pay for that house. So let's just move on from that. Christine's married. Meri wants nothing to do with you guys at this point, and Janelle seems to be as happy as can be far away. It is over. So sell it and move on. Hold on. There was one more thing I wanted to add about that. You know, Kody goes to tell her, and then she says it's kind of hard on her. And then there's a confessional, and Kody, of course, cannot just let it go and say, hey, you know what, it's difficult, but we're ready to move on. Nope. He has to try to point out that the other wives easily moved on.
She's been the last one to let go. I'm not kidding. Meri, Janelle, Christine, they all let go a long time ago.
He will take every moment that he can to remind us that Robyn's holding on because, you know, she's so loyal. She's such a good, sensitive, angelic wife. She wouldn't let go of the dream of them all being together on the property. But, you know, that Meri, Janelle, and Christine, they all let go without any problems because they just weren't committed. I'm like, is this serious? They were the women there the longest. They got treated the worst and stayed far longer than they should have. Honestly, they really exhibited some loyalty that they shouldn't have, at least in my opinion. Let's move on to talking about Janelle. We find out in North Carolina, Maddie has given birth to a beautiful baby girl named Amelia. Sounds like it all went very well. During this part of the show, they have a confessional where Christine talks about how all of the grandkids feel like their grandkids and how she was at the birth of Axel and Evie. Now later, there's another confessional that relates to this, and Christine talks about how she would love to have been there for the birth of Amelia. And I'm going to put the clip in here so that you guys know what I'm talking about.
I told Maddie, let me know when you want me to come out. And she said to come out after the baby was born. And that makes a lot of sense.
I can't help but feel sad for Christine. I mean, having kids and family move away is just a part of life, but we know how much she wanted to be in Utah and how much she wanted to be near her family. I think she got there and it felt like for a while everyone was there and near her. And now they're moving away. And not every kid, but quite a few of them. I think she's a little bit heartbroken. But you know what? You never know what the future holds. You don't know who will move back. You don't know what the future looks like for Christine. It is what it is, but you can tell that she is sad. Later in the episode, we see Janelle meet up with a few of her friends in Flagstaff. You guys, I have to throw this clip in here because I thought it was funny.
Don't you wish he could lose his voice? Like, come on. He's too busy losing his hair, Angela. He doesn't have time for that. Honestly.
So it's clear that Janelle has some funny friends that she can go visit back in Flagstaff. They talk to her about dating. But you know what? It's just clear she's not interested in it. She's not interested in dating at this time. And there is a point of this where she talks about Cody and Robyn, and she points out that they're really happy together. And one of her friends responds by saying that Robyn must be blind, and maybe she can't see who Cody really is. And listen to what Janelle says.
I think so. Okay. Sometimes you get power by giving power. When you're the helpless person that needs to be rescued all the time.
I 100% agree with Janelle. Cody loves the idea of being super masculine. So the idea that he's coming in and saving the day and saving Robyn, that is exactly what Cody Brown wants. That's how he wants to feel. And I think Robyn has figured that out. So she figured out what she needed to do to get what she wanted. Let's go ahead and talk about Meri for just like 1 minute, because I talked about her a lot in the first video I did where I was talking about the sale of Coyote Pass. I really talked about Meri quite a bit. I don't have as much stuff to say in this one because there wasn't a whole lot that happened, but it's big stuff. She is remodeling her house, which is huge, and she is also getting a new roommate, and her name is Amber. They're friends, and their families have also known each other for Meri's whole life. So this is someone she is very comfortable with and close with. Okay, let's talk about David and Christine. They definitely gave viewers something to talk about in this episode. We see Christine making some diaper cakes, and we find out that 2 more grandbabies are expected in their family. We also hear that Christine wants to have a birthday party for McKelty. She's doing this all standing at a counter, and there's some boxes down at the end. It looks like she's ordered some stuff, and it has been delivered, which lets us know she's been doing a little bit of shopping. So David comes in, they're talking about all of this, and then he asks about their future.
Happen down the road when we rely on my income only.
So David is bringing this up because he's seeing all the money that she is spending and all the shopping that she is doing. And Christine responds by saying she is feeling like she is spending too much money. And then they shift us over to confessionals, where they talk about what money was like when they were all still with Cody. They don't say anything surprising, but it does remind us of what life was like for Christine when she was still with him. And we know that during the early years, there was no extra money. Christine brings up that she would go into the store and sometimes have to put back things that they couldn't afford. And eventually, when they began to have money, she was able to control how her money was spent. She also talks about how they all contributed to the family fund, and that money was then used to pay for education for the kids. And this is important because she still has Truly, right? Truly wants to go to college, and that will need to be paid for. For Cody, it was a big deal that the kids get an education without going into debt. But David doesn't have the same feelings that Cody had about education. He doesn't think they should be paying for the kids' education. And to a certain extent, he's right. It's not his responsibility to pay for Truly to go to school. That's Christine and Cody. They need to handle that. But there was just something a little bit odd about the way the conversation went down. I think for me, what felt weird was the fact that he was implying that they would only have his income. Yes, the show might go away, but I think Christine is someone who struggled when she was younger, and she's going to do everything to avoid having that again. I think she's someone that's going to want to help her kids, buy her grandkids things. I think she's going to want to pay for Truly to go to college. We know there were times that Kody didn't help the way he should have helped her. I just don't think all of a sudden, even if this show ends, she's going to have no income. And I think Christine is going to make sure that Truly gets an education with a minimal amount of debt. Do I think it's David's responsibility? No, but I do think implying that it's not going to happen or that has ended now that she left Kody, I just don't feel good about that. And before someone says that didn't happen, I'm going to tell you what was said that made me feel like he did say that. Here is the clip.
We paid for a lot of the kids' education out of the family account. I know that's something you would never do.
If Kody and Christine and the Brown family made sure the children got their education paid for, Kody and Christine should now be doing whatever they need to do to make sure that Truly has the same opportunities that the other kids had. Unless there is some circumstances that have made it where they financially cannot help her anymore, they should try to treat her as equally as they treated the other kids. Now, David keeps saying they're just going to have his income. I don't really understand what makes him think when the show ends, Christine isn't going to work. I would be very surprised if she didn't find other avenues to make money. Number one, her book sales must have brought in something. I could see her continuing with like a cooking show on YouTube, social media. I think there's other things Christine could do. Maybe she just goes and gets a normal job. I don't understand why he's saying she wouldn't work. I don't think Christine would ever want to go back to struggling the way she did before. So I see her continuing to try to have income. That is my perspective. And I think it's up to Kody and Christine to make sure that Truly's education is paid for, not David. But listen to what David says next.
No, and it's a different ball game now.
You're
no longer married in that grip. You're married to me.
First of all, I was confused by the fact that I thought I heard him say grip, and then I was like, no, I think he meant you're not married into that group. But then I turned on the captions and it says grip, and I thought, that's a really unusual way of saying that. That's not something I would ever say, but whatever. Listen, my take on this when it comes to Truly and her education is that is between Christine and Kody. If Christine says we went into the family fund and paid for the other kids to go to school, it's important to me that with my income, it is being set aside for Truly, combined with Kody's contributions, because Kody should have to as well. We see the house that man lives in. We see the stuff he is buying. He can help pay for Truly to go to school. But if Christine says that some of her income has to go into it as well, then it should. It doesn't matter that she suddenly married David. One of the kids shouldn't acquire a lot of debt that the other kids didn't have to if the money is there. Now, if they want to talk about Christine's other spending habits, so be it. But I will tell you, I felt like this conversation upset Christine, even with the way it ended, because this is the last thing we hear from them about this.
This is just the beginning.
Well, I'm going to get on there and buy some more packages too, to just keep up with you.
Game on.
I don't know what it was about that whole interaction. There was just something about it that was a little bit uncomfortable to watch. And it's never enjoyable to watch people have these sort of conversations, but there was something weird about it. And you guys can let me know what you thought. I have a feeling a lot of you are going to say that it wasn't meant to be intense or Christine wasn't upset. I feel like a lot of people really defend David and then David and Christine. And I think a lot of it is because we just want them to work and we want them to have a good relationship. But it still felt like a weird, slightly uncomfortable conversation to watch. And I hope that there's more to it than what we saw when it comes to Truly and her going to school. But that is it, you guys. That is the other part of the recap for this episode. Let me know down below what you thought about all of it. If you haven't already, I hope you will click like and subscribe and come back to Happily Ever Reality.